how does this play anywhere for Joe Biden when he says not another foot and we get 17 more miles?
I mean, I think how does this play for the president is that a lot of people are asking, okay, why now? Now he's saying it's an appropriation, but he doesn't think it's going to work, but it's already been, there's already the money there for it. That's questionable in its own right. There's going to be a lot of questions about that. It'll be very interesting to see how Texas reacts to this because, you know, Texas doesn't like to rely on federal dollars, but says yet that the federal government should be more involved when it comes to the border. So I'm curious to see how all of this will play out here. But the bottom line is, you know, this is a problem that is not going away. This was a problem under many Texas governors. This has been a problem under many United States presidents. And the bottom line is when there's no comprehensive immigration reform, this will continue to happen. And I don't see the appetite for that in Congress.
Well, Julie, you say it's a problem, and I think everyone recognizes that it is. It's just a question of whether trying to build more miles of wall is a solution. The president himself said he doesn't think it works. Is the feeling in Texas that it would work? Please build it.
I think the feeling in Texas is there are many people here, especially in the Republican Party, that want to see more wall or some kind of deterrent or just something done about immigration. So therefore, there's always been a lot of support for the wall, especially for many who live in these border cities where they are constantly having the influx of people coming in and coming out. You look at some of the major cities here, you're not on the border. But for the cities that are, this continues to be an issue. And there is a lot of support specifically within the Republican Party all the way through for more deterrence and walls.
Let's go local for a minute because this public notice from the Department of Homeland Security, Julie, says they're waiving environmental and tribal land protections to speed up construction in this area. How's that going to go over in border towns in Texas?
Well, first of all, waiving any regulations generally with many of the voters here in Texas is a big win in their opinions. However, if you're in a border town, many people don't want to lose their homes. And that has been an issue all along, specifically for ranchers. So they'll have to come to some type of an agreement on that. But yeah, that has also been a major problem when it comes to deterrence and walls here. What do you do with the people that live there that have spent a lot of money? And what if they don't want to get rid of their homes? Then on the flip side of it, Joe and Kaylee, which I think is also very important to point out, there are a lot of people that live on the border that are frustrated that may not lose their homes because they've got people running through their yards at night. So I think overall, the wall, well, for many is a great solution. For others, creates a major problem. But I think it's very difficult to see, unless you live in these border cities, how much all of this can affect people's everyday lives.
Yeah, and Julie, of course, to reach the wall, you have to make it to shore. You have to cross the Rio Grande first. What's the latest on the buoy saga?
Well, the buoy and the barbed wires, that has now gone through the Fifth Circuit. Now, as you know, the Fifth Circuit of Appeals is one of the most conservative courts in the United States. They heard arguments on that yesterday, and we will find out soon what their ruling will be. But I will not be surprised if you see this go all the way to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, Greg Abbott was pushing back pretty hard when you asked him about that a couple of days ago. He said that the reporting was not accurate, that these were putting people in danger or blocking navigation in the river.
Well, and he frequently also says the person that puts people in danger is the president by the border policies. That is what the governor frequently says about this. But the bottom line, it's not a safe situation when anybody's trying to cross the border. They have to come for miles and miles and miles, then make it through. Then you get across the border. Then you ask for asylum. Then it's figuring out where you're going to go and processing you in the meantime. Sometimes families don't end up being together. It's really an awful situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, this is a story that Texas is really at the front lines of, but it's extending elsewhere. When people in Texas and the mayor of New York City, Julie, are singing kind of a similar tune, what does that say?
Well, I'll tell you, that's very interesting. And you all saw that I discussed that with the governor. I mean, the governor has basically said this is what people in Texas have been feeling for a long time. And politically, obviously it was viewed by many as a stunt when these buses went to Democratic and blue cities. But the bottom line is where they ended up now. Local officials there have to figure out how to handle this and how to do it humanely. So they somewhat ended up on the same page at the end of all this because essentially they're dealing with the same issue.